Welcome back, guys, to yet another World of Warcraft video for the War Within. Now, you might be noticing that I am currently standing in Dragonflight, Dragonflight is spelled Draken, and that's because this video is a preparation video and a investment advice ideas for you guys to kind of maybe get into if you are interested in holding on to items for 6 months or even longer. And some of these items could also, turn a quick profit even before the expansion launches or very early into it. Before we get into it, I do want to say that a lot of this stuff is something that you would put gold into for the purpose of holding on to it and also taking care of it when the new expansion is live. So if you don't want to be posting all these items when all the new content is out for the War Within, you probably don't want to invest into these unless you invest into them and just put them away for months on end and just kind of pay attention to the markets on the side. I know it's a lot of different work, so I've also limited how much I've actually invested into it because of the fact that I want to put almost all of my energy into the War Within related content. But now that that's over, before we do get into the video, make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel with all the notifications on, because then you'll get notified for whenever we make other videos. I've made a ton of other The War Within related guides, videos, yapping sessions, so you are more than welcome to check that out. There's a whole playlist, and I link it in the description. In the description down below in the video. But let's get into it. Here in front of you, you are currently looking at my TSM. Now you can see here at the bottom that the total for the last 30 days is 9.1 million. Now this here at the bottom was some Dragonflight related crafts. They don't really matter. So just keep that in mind, because that is, I want to say, probably 200,000 almost of that. So I've invested about 9 million, maybe a little less, because there are some purchases in here that are besides that. But I've limited myself to not invest more into Dragonflight related things, any more than 10 mil. The goal that I have on this particular character that I'm on right now is the maximum that I will let myself spend. So I limit the amount of capital that I use on this, so I still have more than way enough for the War Within. But let's get into it. There's a couple different reasons for why I've invested into some of these things, and I'll be going over that just right now. So you're looking at these formula illusions for Primal Earth, Primal Air, Primal Fire, and everything like that. We'll actually make this a little bigger so you guys can see the names. The reason why I've invested into these is because these are recipes, right? These are recipes that are not going to be as available when we get into the War Within. And the less and less people that are going to be running around doing all the content that actually drops these formulas for enchanting, they're going to go up in value, because the supply will probably dwindle a little bit, and then the prices are going to go up. And you might be wondering to yourself, well, okay, most people probably already have these and they're going into the War Within already having these. But as I said earlier, a lot of people are not going to focus on the previous expansion and even older than Dragonflight expansions when new content is out. So this is a potential market that you could get into if you don't have as much time to follow up with the current content stuff. And for recipes, this is something that could take a very long time before you see any real profit on just flipping the recipe. If you don't have it, now is the best time to actually get the recipe. And the good thing about these is these have no quality related to it. So if you learn enchanting, as soon as you have enough, which it says here requires Dragon Isles enchanting, as soon as you reach 50 in enchanting, you'll be able to learn these and you'll be able to craft them straight away. Now you could also invest into the materials that are related to some of these if that's your interest. But I am mostly sticking to, in this case, the recipes. Now you can see I've actually been able to flip some of them, and I bought 8 of them, the fire ones here, for 5,000 gold, and I resold 6 of them for 8,867. I'm holding on to the last 2, so right now I've already turned a very quick profit of about 13k, which isn't necessarily that much, but it's still, it's stuff that eventually builds up to be quite a lot of gold. Now, for the other ones, I have some Primal Airs, I also have some Primal Frost, and then I have some Primal Earth. I've only resold 1 of the Primal Frost for 25k, as you can see, which is only about 4k profit, But some of these have actually fallen even further down in value than when I invested into it. But these are still not super huge. It's just something that I wanted to hold on to a couple of these just to make sure that I have them on me if they eventually decide to go up in value. And we've seen that with previous expansions and some of the recipes that are related to the professions from previous expansions. And specifically with Dragonflight, there are some of these that are really rare, so that's why I invested into it. Now, we got four different crafting materials, and these are used for a lot of the work order related crafts for gear, but there's also a lot of these wide quality or common quality materials that are used as turn-in rewards for renown related things, or renown vendors. So these have multiple uses and are interesting because of that. So I invested into these, and I've actually resold some of them. If you look at Tallstrider Sinews here, you'll see that I've sold 1,100 of these for 656, and my current smart average buy is 954. And that's because I actually did sell some of these for quite a lot. You'll see here 1,106 is how many I bought, and I sold about the same. So if we go into my revenue here and we look up the Tallstriders, you'll be able to see that I actually ended up selling pretty much every single one of those for quite a lot of gold. And then I decided I was going to reinvest into it because the market went even crazier, and it might come back to maybe not be a great decision, but I decided to do it anyway, just because it's a material that's used for a very wide range of cosmetics. Now you got Auric Fleece, which is more for like rare things. It's one of those rare bait mount related cosmetic things, and I've been able to flip a lot of these even during the expansion. So I decided to see I'm just gonna buy a couple more of these. I bought 103 at the 416 gold price point. You can see here that I've been able to sell out of 249 that I've bought in total for 424 gold. I've been able to sell 133 of them for 533 gold. So you can see that it's not that much of a profit. It's a little over 100 gold on each one, but it's still very good. And the ones that I have left are potentially going to be even more as people, get further and further away from this content. The same thing with this iridescent plume. This is also something that's used for renowned cosmetic turn-in materials, but it also has its uses for certain toys and some pets, I believe. It's also used for a lot of profession crafts, which is why I decided to invest into this. And this was also way cheaper. This was only 30 gold, and right now you can even get them cheaper than I did. So maybe I could have gotten in and did something there. But you can also see that I bought 4,038 in total of these over the expansion for 59 gold, right? And I've been able to resell 3,400 of them for 60, almost 8 gold. And you can see here that there's only a 7k difference in between me being able to break even, and I still have 622 of these. So almost no matter what I do, I will be making profit on these unless I sell them for pennies on the gold, right? Which I'm obviously not going to do. Now, you'll see here that we actually have some BOEs. Now, BOEs are a wild game, and it's something that most people would have to put quite a lot of gold into this. So I don't recommend this for everybody, because this is one of those things where you're going to potentially have to hold on to these for months and months and months on end. And this is very dependent on your server. Unlike the materials that are region-wide, this is very particular for your server. But I decided to invest into what I think looks like a great piece of transmog, and that's exactly why I invested into these. You'll actually be able to see, if we search these up, these Crucible Crusaders wingspans, we'll actually move this out of the way, are these very awesome cloth shoulders, and there's a lot of different colors as for the versions. You'll actually have to click into these to be able to get the different colors, but they're very awesome, and I've seen these sell for quite a lot of gold throughout the expansion, so I decided quite a long time ago that I was going to invest into these. So I'm pretty happy with the investments that I made here. I even already resold some of them, which has been great. I'll show you that later. I also invested into these Mantle of Sunless Kindling, which are leather shoulders. And I'll just show you a couple of these so you guys can see. These are leather shoulders, very much related to a druid kind of mog. So I also decided I was going to invest into these. And the way that you can decide this, if you don't really know what people are looking for just by looking at the transmog, you can also go by sale rates and the individual eye levels. But the thing about the eye levels, especially in Dragonflight, is we have a lot of different eye levels that have the exact same colors. Because of the fact that we had the Awakened season that we're currently in, there's a lot of the same colors at eye level. So you have to be really careful, because once we go into transmog related content for something like BOEs, the colors and the appearances are all that matter. So you might be able, in case this was the same color as this one, you might be able to take those and move them up to the same price and make a decent amount of profit. So just be on the lookout for that. Think about that when you're potentially investing into BOEs. But BOEs are awesome. I'm mostly sticking to shoulders and helmets as the general thing, because those are the more popular pieces when it comes to transmog related stuff, especially the ones that move a lot faster. So that's why I decided to do that. This one is irrelevant. Now we got these Centaur's Trophy Necklace. This is another one of those materials that are a turn-in for certain cosmetic rewards from vendors with renown and reputation, but they're also used for some crafts, which are very awesome. Now, I did invest at these at quite a high price of 245 gold, and they have fallen quite further down. But I would say that this is still a reasonable thing to put your gold into, because of the fact that when people get away from Dragonflight content, this is one of those things that you get from a, Grand Hunt or Centaur hunts. And people are not really going to do those when they're not doing your daily content to be able to keep up with seasonal rewards and things like that. So this is probably going to become eventually a very rare material. So again, that's another reason for why I invested into that. We have Awakened Ire, and this is the main PvP Awakened material, and this is used for all the cosmetic appearances that you can possibly think of in professions. And this is obviously going to be something that people will be using for PvP transmog related things eventually. Maybe new players that haven't played Dragonflight before, they just never collected it in Dragonflight, and we get into further content. So I decided to invest into these as well. And I got these at 524 gold, and this is actually held up pretty well because I purchased these 23 days ago. Price is about the same. I don't expect this to change that much until probably way into the new expansion. But either way, I decided to invest into them because they're used for PvP-related cosmetic rewards. Well, not cosmetic rewards, cosmetic crafts in professions. So that's why I decided to do that. Now, we also have Tuft of Primal Wool. Now, this is, again, one of those common materials that are used for cosmetic rewards from renown and reputation vendors, but it's also used for a handful of profession crafts. So, again, I decided to invest into this. This is a very, very, very annoying material to currently farm. If you want to do this by yourself, you get almost nothing when it comes to these, and they are going to be even harder to get when we leave this expansion. So again, I decided to invest into this, and you can see that I purchased quite a handful of these at all kinds of different prices, and I was able to resell some of them. You see my current buy price is 1,248, and I resold 700 of them for just about 115 gold extra or whatever it is there. And that's a decent amount of profit, but I'm holding on to the rest of them for the future expansion. Now, these don't matter because these are for bags, so that's current content stuff. You'll see some more here, more shoulders, more helmets, and more BOEs that I've invested into. And I do want to show you some of the sales that I've already gotten on some of these to show you the potential. Here's a couple more investments that I made into some of the other, common materials that you actually use for turn-in rewards and reputations. I'm taking a risk on a lot of these because I would imagine that these are going to be very hard to come by once people don't do this content anymore. And some of them have been good and others have not been very good so far. So just, you know, keep that in mind. Now, then we have all these artisans curios. These are used to spawn rares on the Forbidden Reach. Now, the Forbidden Reach has a bunch of, like, all the rares that are there have a bunch of different cosmetic rewards for what they drop. And I would imagine that there are going to be collectors that eventually want to come back and do that content, and they probably don't want to be sitting there crafting all these things by themselves. So I decided to invest into almost every single one of these that were reasonably low prices, and I've slowly been reselling some of them that have been staying up at good prices. As you can see, I actually sold of this crystal tuning fork. You can see that I've resold 151 for 188 gold, and I bought 559 of them for 94. So that's pretty good. About little is pretty much doubling what I purchased it for how much I sold it for. So that's awesome to see. Some of these are better than others, but still it's great to see. Then we have flash frozen meat. This is again another one of the common materials that are used for turn-ins for a lot of the cosmetic rewards. I know I've said that a lot, but it's one of those things that I wanted to invest into because this one again is also one of the ones that are really annoying to actively farm. Now this one, you can see I purchased 2,649 of these for an average price of 131 gold. And I've been able to resell 1,251 of them for 162 gold. So 31 gold-ish profit on each one, which is absolutely amazing to see. And most likely I'll be holding on to the rest of them, but the current price is a price I'm comfortable with reselling at. So that's completely fine with me. Then again, Nolan's House Special. This is another one of those materials that are used for a turn-in as a currency that you need for some of the cosmetic rewards from all the different renowned vendors. There's a lot, as you can obviously tell. Now, I bought 3,300 of these for 99 gold, and the current price is way lower, but I also got into this market late, but I wanted to get into it regardless of how much money I could make right now, just to hold on to it for future purposes. Again, this is very much the same tactic as a lot of the other ones. I was able to resell some of them for about a 36 gold profit, which is awesome to see. That's the same thing with this Tuskar jerky. Exact same purpose. I bought it to hold on to it for quite a long time. Couple more BOE investments here, and then you'll see I've decided to invest into some materials. Now, these materials are some of the more like multi-step intermediate crafts and professions, and I decided to invest into these. I know a lot of people are dumping these or trying to get rid of them. I decided to take a risk here because in the War Within, people might be coming back to get some of the cosmetic crafts out of professions. Same purposes of a lot of the other investments that I've done. And as less and less people will be farming the materials needed to craft these, I would imagine that some of the prices have a chance of going up. There's also a high chance of some of them going down, and that's also why, like, you can see that the amount that I've actually invested into this isn't that much. You can see I only, here I spent 10K, here I spent 16, 17K, 55K, 78K, 90K, and then this one, obviously, I bought 15,000 of these. But I've bought a lot more throughout the expansion. So 110K. So I took some chances here on materials that have been really had a lot of widespread use. And I'm holding on to them for quite a while to hopefully see some return in however long it takes into the new expansion. If not, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that much out of what we've actually spent our gold on. And then, you see some more Tall Stratus news. This is what I talked about earlier. And some more Auric Fleece. And there's some more BOEs. Now, let's go over some of the stuff that I've been able to resell. So we're going to take a look at all of the... Let's see if we can actually find... this should be fine. I mean, we can actually just go per item. So we look at the more expensive versions. So these are all from the last 30 days. Now, from the top here, I actually, as you can see, I purchased these on average for 24.4K, and I've been able to resell one for 47.5, which is absolutely amazing. And then we have Mantle of Sunless Kindling here. You can see that we sold one for 57K, one for 80K, and one for 80K. So an average of 73K, and I've bought these for an average of 34. So I've actually almost been able to break even on reselling 3 out of 7 total bought, which is absolutely amazing. I'm very happy with that. And then we also have 2 sales on Crucible Curator's Wingspans. You can see that I've purchased 7 of these for an average of 66K and been able to resell them, 2 of them, for an average of 194K. So this is a little over tripling the amount that I've spent on it. So you can see here that I sell 1 more even at the price that I purchased it at, and I'm pretty much at the break even. I'm very happy with that. The fact that that's already been the case. And then we have probably the best out of all of them. I have some Mantle of Slumbering Sands. I have purchased 6 of these for an average of 61K, and I've been able to resell 5 of them for 210K average. So you can see right now I've been able to resell for a total profit of 700K, and I still have 1 left, which is absolutely amazing. And you could also say that if some of the other BOEs don't work out, that the amount of profit that I've been able to make from that BOE alone would be enough to cover damages on some of the other ones that might not, which is another thing. I've done my absolute best to spread out my investments as much as possible, because then if you have a couple ones that don't work out great, but you have one that absolutely takes off, then you're still going to be potentially in a very decent amount of profit, and you can still tank some losses. Everything isn't going to work out the way that you want it to at every turn. And I've obviously had some investments already that did not work out the way that I wanted them to. But I also had some that worked out way better than expected. So if you have the capital, if you're interested in investing into something that you could potentially turn into some gold right now, or it's something that you're going to hold on to for months and months and months on end, way into the war within, then that's also good. This has worked great for previous expansions where I've invested into BOEs and pets and cosmetics and all that kinds of stuff. But it does require that you spend a lot of time on, actively paying attention to these markets and making sure that you're not missing out on opportunities when you're enjoying the new content. So it's some considerations that you have to make depending on how you want to spend your time making gold in World of Warcraft, both for the new expansion, but also for the stuff that you've prepared for the new expansion, or if you just want to focus on old stuff. I hope this made sense in somewhat. I hope this provided some kind of an inspiration, some kind of look into my thought process for how I'm investing into the War Within, at least some of my gold. And yeah, I mean, that's most of what I had to say. Hopefully you guys got something away from this. If you have anything that you have invested into or that you are thinking about investing into, make sure that you drop that down in the comments below this video here. I'd love to talk about it. And if you did make it all the way to this point right here in the video, I want you guys to type, let's see, what word are we going to pick today? I'm going to pick gum because I have gum right in front of me here. So gum, type gum down in the comments below if you made it all the way to this point in the video. If you did, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But that is going to be everything that I have for this video. So until the next one, see ya.